Recently, the Honkai Star Rail developers made a very interesting announcement. They are going to start buffing older characters. Now, as of me recording this, they haven't announced how exactly they're going to be doing that, but MiHoYo actually has a very interesting history with buffing characters. And because of that history, I don't think the Star Rail buffs are going to be as straightforward as they could be or should be. So before I talk about what exactly I think Star Rail is going to do with their characters, I want to talk about MiHoYo's history with buffing characters. Let's start with the most infamous case of them doing so. Zhongli in Genshin Impact back in version 1.1. When Zhongli originally released, he was considered very underwhelming, to put it nicely, by the vast majority of the community. And there was massive outcry to the point where Genshin Impact, or MiHoYo specifically, couldn't do the thing that they usually do, which is just ignore the community. The outcry was so massive that they had to give a response. Their response was to directly buff Zhongli. They increased his numbers and I think slightly tweaked his skills, how they work. And so to this day, Zhongli is still one of the most powerful characters in the game. That was the only time Genshin Impact ever directly buffed a character. Usually the way they buff characters is by releasing new characters, usually new supports that makes older characters stronger. But in terms of directly buffing a character, it only happened with Zhongli. Now let's talk about MiHoYo's older game, Honkai Impact Third. Honkai Impact Third is interesting because they had two different ways of buffing characters directly. Well, directly, sort of. It's complicated. Honkai Impact Third had something called an augment core. Now, an augment core was something that older characters got that would make them stronger by giving them access to new passives, new skills, new ultimates. Essentially, an augment core would rework an older character into a new, more powerful version of themselves. I want to use the character Bronya as an example. Bronya got her augment core and it essentially turned her into like a tank support hybrid, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. Essentially, an augment core was something that you could level up and rank up slowly over time for free by slowly farming a specific material. The higher rank the augment core, the more things you would unlock. You would unlock passive, skills, ultimate, everything that I said earlier. And so slowly over time, you would essentially transform Bronya into a new, more powerful version of herself. Augment Core was very good for the players because it was a free way to make older characters that you already invested into more powerful. Obviously, it would take a little bit of time, but whatever, who cares? Like, it was a free way to make older characters more powerful. It was very free to play friendly. And that's the problem. Augment cores only lasted for about a year. Only a couple of characters got them, and then MiHoYo just stopped doing them because they couldn't earn money from it. Not directly, anyways. Sadly, even though it was very free to play friendly, MiHoYo stopped doing it after about a year. And then eventually they introduced a new way to make characters more powerful. I'm going to use the character Hersher of Thunder May as an example. Hey, it's me from the future. I've returned to make some corrections because I got some things wrong the first time. My bad. It's not my fault. Sorry about any background noise. So, Hersher of Thunder May received a buff in Honkai Impact 3rd. Not directly. They didn't just go into May and increase her stats and skills and percentages and stuff like that. No. Instead, the developers gave her a brand new premium weapon in the banner system. What was interesting about this weapon is that it not only made her stronger by increasing her percentages and stuff like that, it actually slightly reworked her skills. Her skill, her passive, her ultimate were all a little different. What was crazy about this new weapon is that it turned her from this ancient, years old character who just wasn't really that good anymore and turned her into one of, if not arguably, the most powerful damage character at the time of release, which was crazy. Now I'm going to go back to the original video and I'm going to try and re-edit some things because I said some things based off of the wrong information. So the edit is going to be a little weird. I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to try my best. When I stopped playing Honkai Impact Third, which was at the end of Iana's story, aka Part 1, the ending of Part 1, this happened like 2 years ago, something like that. I stopped playing about 2 years ago. They only did this twice. They did it with Her Share of Thunder May and Her Share of Reason Bronya. I don't know if they still do it. I would assume they still do it because they can earn money from it. But yeah, that's miHoYo's. As of me writing this, that is essentially miHoYo's history of directly buffing characters. They did it once with Zhongli in Genshin Impact, and then they did two different ways in Honkai Impact Third: augment cores and then new equipment. So, what do I think Star Rail is going to do? I think they're going to do what Honkai Impact Third did. Star Rail doesn't have stigmatas, but they do have light cones, which is a weapon. I think characters like Kafka, Jingliu, Sele, like these ancient characters that aren't that powerful anymore, are going to get new light cones that give them access to new passives and potentially tweaked, slightly tweaked, if not brand new, skills and ultimates. For example, Kafka. You guys know that Kafka, her boss fight version, has unique animations that the playable version of Kafka doesn't do. I wouldn't be surprised if they release a new light cone for Kafka that gives her access to those animations. So the one where she like turns around and throws a bomb behind her back, the one where she creates like these little spider webs of her fingers and then pulls and does something to you. I think it confuses you or something. I don't remember what it does. But yeah, those animations, I wouldn't be surprised if Kafka gets access to them. Now, obviously, characters like Jing Liu and wait, actually does? No, Jing Liu doesn't have a boss fight. But obviously not every character has a boss fight version. So if they get new skills and new ultimates, they would have to be brand new animations. But for Kafka specifically, they could just reuse the existing animations that he has in her boss fight. Would this be free to play friendly? It depends, because reinvesting into a character like Kafka by summoning for new equipment is a massive gamble. Because it mostly just depends on how powerful Kafka becomes. If Kafka becomes the most powerful damage character in the game by using her new light cone, then yes, I do think it's worth it. Because you're essentially getting a brand new character without having to summon for the character. You only have to summon for the weapon. So if Kafka gets a massive boost, I do think it's worth it. But if the light cone just makes her like a decent DPS, like she's not super powerful, but she's not weak. She's just like, okay, then no, I don't think it's worth it because it would be better to just invest into a brand new DPS like Aglaea. Well, sorry, my screen just turned black. Okay, sorry, there was like a weird cut there. My PC just automatically turned off for some reason. That was weird. Like I was saying, it would be better to reinvest into a character like, or it would be better to invest into a character like Aglaea or Castores or the upcoming Fate Stay Night collab rather than reinvesting into an okay Kafka, And so really it just depends on how powerful this new equipment becomes or how powerful this new equipment turns older characters into. Let me rephrase that. Whether or not the system is free to play friendly just depends on how powerful the older characters become. And again, that's assuming that I'm correct and characters get access to new light cones. So what about the other options that Star Rail could do? Technically, they could just make older characters stronger by releasing new equipment like relics. However, they technically already do that. For example, Kafka. Kafka didn't have a relic set dedicated to her when she originally released. but she did get one in version, I want to say 1.6 is when it came out. It was the Hua. I don't know how you pronounce it. I forgot. The little green girl. It was her update. That's when the dot relic set came out. So, and they've done that a couple of times. Like older characters get relic sets that give them a boost. So because of that, I don't think when the developers say, "Oh, we're gonna buff older characters," that's what they're talking about. Because if that's what they were talking about, just releasing new equipment, they already do that. So it doesn't really make sense to announce something that you're already doing. You know what I mean? The only other option I can think of that's realistic, that isn't just directly buffing an old character, because obviously that's the best way to do it. Just go back to Kafka, increase her stats, increase her multipliers, tweak her skills, or just rework her into a different character. Like, that's the best way to do it. But that's not something that they can monetize. That's a very free to play friendly system. Because an old character that you have magically just becomes powerful. It's very free to play friendly, and that's probably why they're not going to do it. The only other way I can think of for them to the only other thing I can think of for them to do is to release new characters that buff older characters. But again, they already do that. Sunday is the perfect example. Sunday took an ancient character like Jin Yuan and made him very powerful. So again, I don't think they're going to announce something that they're already doing, because that doesn't make sense. Why would you announce something that you already do? That just doesn't make sense. So let's talk a hypothetical. There is something that Star Rail could do to buff older characters that would be very free to play friendly and very fun. I want to talk about Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle real quick, which is a ancient gacha game. Literally, as me recording this, it is celebrating its 10th anniversary. Also, the 10th anniversary is insane, by the way. Like, oh my god, it's crazy. Your boy is summoning for the new Gogeta that's coming out, I'm gonna summon for the new Gogeta, and if I get him early, I'm going to try and summon for the new Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So, anyways, that's my plans, in case you're wondering. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle does something very interesting to buff older characters. They do something called Extreme Z Awakening. What this is that they release a special stage called a Z Battle for a character, like a specific character. Let's just use Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, right? Super Saiyan 2 Gohan gets a Z stage, and you have to clear 30 levels of that stage. Each time you clear a stage, you get a special resource. Once you clear all 30 stages, you can awaken Gohan into a new, more powerful version of himself. He'll get access to new passives, new skills, his stats will increase and his level cap will increase. And basically, similar to augment cores from Honkai Impact 3rd, you slowly transform a character into a new, more powerful version of himself. And so I think it would be fun if Star Rail did something similar. Let's call it Aeon Awakening. Let's say you could Aeon Awaken Kafka by going to, let's say, the Herta space station. There's a new location in the Herta space station where you can fight an Aeon Kafka. Let's keep it simple. Let's say there's 5 stages, because 30 stages is insane. It's like my least favorite part of the Z Awakening mechanic, because it's just way too many stages. Let's keep it simple. 5 stages. Each time you clear stage, you get a special resource that you can use to Aeon Awaken Kafka. Let's say the first one, once you clear stage 1, you get access to a new passive. Stage 2 is a new technique. Stage 3 is a reworked skill. Stage 4 is a reworked ultimate. And stage 5 is like something. I don't know, whatever, who cares? Maybe it like changes her constellations or something. I don't know. And yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. I think that would be a very free to play friendly way to do it, because you don't have to summon for anything. It's just, can you clear these stages? And let's not make the stages like too difficult. Let's make them challenging, but not crazy difficult, right? Something that a person can work towards, but not something that's insanely difficult and you need like crazy maxed out like full duplicate weapons and full duplicate characters and crazy premium teams. Like, no, you don't need any of that. But you need a decent team, right? Something that a player can work. Because that would be a way to make older characters more powerful, but it would also be a fun gameplay thing for the player, you know? I think that'd be great. That's my real suggestion for what I think they should do. Aeon Awakening. Aeon Awakenings. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to say. Uh, sorry that this was kind of like rambling. I don't have a script for this video. Like I've thought about this for a long time, for like the past week, ever since they made the announcement, but I didn't write down a script. So sorry if I was all over the place. If you want like if you want me to clarify anything, if like anything I said was confusing, then feel free to leave a comment, just like asking me asking for clarification, and I will respond as soon as I can, as soon as I see the message. So yeah, thank you for watching. Feel free to suggest your own ideas for how they could update characters that isn't just releasing a new Lycone. Like what kind of fun, unique ideas do you have, you know? So yeah, feel free to share your own thoughts about anything that I said. Anyways, all of that being said, feel free to leave a like, dislike, comment, subscribe, or don't. It is up to you. And if you really liked the sound of my voice, then feel free to click on the video currently on screen. I have no idea what I'm going to suggest to you guys, but whatever it is, I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.